Welcome back, baseball fans, to this Eliminating the Florida Marlins video. They lost in the first round of the postseason tournament, finishing in fourth place in the National League East. All fourth place teams, well, they can't get to the playoffs because there's only two wild cards, and so we have to eliminate each of the fourth place teams. We begin with the Marlins, who finished with a record of 9-19. This is their stats. They hit .261 as a club. They had a .412 ERA. Those numbers improved over a year ago, but the one-loss record, interestingly, did not. They were 16-19 a year ago, getting into the second round of this tournament. This year, just 9-19. Played a lot of extra inning games. They were losses. The stats looked a little bit better, but their overall one loss got worse. Manny Mota was their lone all-star, hitting .351. Had a nice year, as did Vic Davalillo. They were the 1-2 punch. Davalillo with just 3 steals, .349 average. Ellie Rodriguez did a nice job catching with the batting average, good arm. His on base percentage a little lower than we would expect. He's normally a .360 base guy. Pagan, Mian should have done better. Montanez, he had 30 home runs with that 71 card. 2 years in a row, he hasn't done enough with it. They just got this Hal McRae card of 74, which is nice, but he only had 252 with it. The rest of that bench is pretty weak, obviously. Pitching, Steve Arlen can pitch on 3 days rest. That's why you see that asterisk next to the 1. But .448 ERA and a .155 whip is certainly nothing to speak of anything. But he at least can pitch on 3 days rest, which helps his team. The bullpen is where they make their money. Jose Pena has had another great year in 23 innings with a .116 ERA. And then you have Orlando Pena, nice story in the draft. It got a couple saves. I mean, Tom Bergmeyer's the lefty closer. He didn't get a save. How do you expect to win anything if your lefty setup guy doesn't get a save? .464, bad year for him. Not a lot to say about these journeyman players. You're not going to find a Hall of Famer practically here, or a few All-Stars sprinkled in, some high one-year wonder performances. Let's take a look now at the Florida Marlins set, as we have to remove the 1971 cards from this set. And there's going to be 8 of those. It's easier to do it this way, I find. I can read the year right off of there. We're going to take 8 71s out of here. Should be exactly 8. Has to be exactly 8. Or I've done something terribly wrong. Okay, and then we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 remaining. And then these 8 71s right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll get to these guys later in the video. Let's see what Florida is going to bring back next year. You're typically hoping for like a 7-hitter, 5-pitcher split for balance. They're going to go 9-3, which is probably a good thing. Their hitting is a little bit better than their pitching. They do have Ellie Rodriguez coming back at catcher. They're going to need a first baseman. Pagan's like a utility player. Mian's at second. Sanchez can play third. Guerrero at short. Davalillo and you kind of have a starting lineup here. It's not a great one. You got Mota can DH. Actually, Pagan can play first. DH, catcher first, second, third, short, left, center. Well, here's your DH. My bad. McRae's more suited to be DH. Catcher first, second, third, short, left, center, and right. Yeah, so they don't need to add much to get the same performance they just had, though they should. They can rebuild the pitching staff, and you have 2 lefties, which is nice, at least. You don't have to go searching for those. Folkers is okay. They drafted him this past year with a .362 ERA, and Pena as well. They drafted him with a .218 ERA. And Reynolds, they have him for 1 more year. He could be cut if they find something better. But again, a lot of needs for a Florida team with those other 8 players. We have to figure out what they're going to do with those 8 players. Do they keep, waive, or retire them? And we'll check that out right here. All right, folks, we're going to look at the 8 players from 71 cards to see if they will continue their career or if they're going to be kept by this team, put on waivers, or retired, possibly traded in the offseason. This is just the first chance to look at this, and this is a process that will begin in the offseason, go all the way until the draft next year. The first player here is Marty Martinez, and we'll look at him. So his 71 year was in the league. And there it is. He had 258. In 72, he does continue a career with a bunch of different stops in it. For him to get waivers, he would have to, and that's the end of his career in 72, he'd have to have a Strat-O-Matic card. That's one of my considerations. So what I do is I will look and find the 1972 roster sheet. Here it is, here on Gary's SOM roster page. We might have to hunt for this because, you know, Mr. Martinez played for 3 clubs, Cardinals, A's, and Rangers. Oh my goodness, I gotta find him on any of those 3 teams to get waivers. Cardinals, A's, and Rangers. So here's A's for Marty Martinez. Don't see him there. Don't see him there or there. And then in this list, not there or there. And then was it the Cardinals? Cardinals, looking for him again to see if he exists. He is not there. One more shot down here. There's an extra player. Whew. Wow. Well, that's good news and bad news. It's bad news for Marty Martinez. No Cardinal, Oakland, or Texas card in 72. The good news is he was bad anyway. He hit 159. So he will enjoy retirement, as he will not be a factor moving forward for this team. Got the wrong team here. Let's put the Marlins in here. Marty Martinez. So the blue column is guys you want to keep. The yellow guys are guys you're willing to put on waivers. And the third column, guys to put on the retirement list. For Marty Martinez, we're going to put them in the column 3. You put a value amount, so a keeper is 10,000 units, tokens, dollars. A wave player is worth $100, and a retired player is worth $1. So you put Marty Martinez there at 1. This math will come into be important later when it comes closer to the draft. Next player is Willie Montanez. I'm pretty certain they'll bring him back, as he'll play throughout the 1970s through a bunch of different squads. He'll play all the way to 82, so there's no reason to obviously retire him. Nor, so this is the year we had 30 homers, 255, 798 OPS. And so you see he has 72, 3, 4, and 5, and he's got MVP votes in 75. He's a keeper, folks. You got to keep some stability here on this fragile team. So he doesn't hit the 30 home runs, I get it. But he's still a contributor, and he hits 304 in 74, and he has MVP votes in 75. He is a comebacker. He will be kept. So for Willie Montanez, we go in column 1 and give him $10,000 to come back to Florida. All right. Next up is Roger Repos. Actually played for the Angels. 72 plus. Here I can get a quick answer. If I see 71, I know he has to be retired. But 72, we have to see if that 72 year can either get you waivers or possibly even kept. Well, there's Roger, picture of him. Nope, and there's your answer. So in 72, he was active in April for 3 at-bats, and that was it. So he can easily be retired at this point. Next up, the pitching staff, beginning with Steve Arlen. A couple so-so years, as expected, trying to pitch in a tough division. He was a Padre pitcher, Steve Arlen here. He would pitch over 200 innings in 71 and 2. Led the league in losses both times. Smart move by the Padres, I would say, to cut bait. But frankly, in 72, he's pretty much the same guy. 135 whip. Eats innings. Look, it's not glamorous, folks. And I get it. His statistics just lifetime 433 in 6 years, but I think they're keeping him because he can pitch on 3 days rest. and he's not much worse or better. So for the moment, they're going to keep him because I don't know if anybody else really wants him. And like I said, he can pitch on 3 days rest. They can help the rotation, just eat innings. You see that a lot in baseball with bad teams. Just go out there and give me 200 innings. I don't care how well you do. It's a long season. So Arlen will continue. Good for him. He did it with the Padres and for an expansion team. Now he's doing it for a fictional expansion team. Next up, Bruce Del Canton. Played for the Braves and Royals, I think, here. And Pittsburgh, the Royals, and the Braves. So he had the 71 card with a 3.45 ERA. There it is. 141 innings. He's actually a little bit better in 72. Oh, this guy's a keeper. So you're considering him, remember, 72 through 75. And they have a shot in 72, maybe skip 73, he's not so great, and then come back again in 74. Plus you see he's even good in 76, so he's going to be kept. Del Canton will be kept here by this team. I mean, these aren't splashy. Are they going to be, folks? This is probably one of the worst teams in this overall league. Ed Acosta is next. Ed Acosta, a short career that ends in 72. Was a Padre. Nice 71 card, 2.74 ERA. Now in 72, he obviously falters a little bit. His whip is over a half a run worse. His ERA is over a run worse. So if you're looking to cut a guy, yeah, you can put this guy. Now the question is, does he have waivers? He probably should. Let's see if he's on the 72 Padres. Is he a member of the 72 Padres? Yep, there he is. Good news. So Strat-O-Matic printed his card, so that means I get him on waivers. And there's a very realistic chance that he isn't claimed on waivers and he returns to the Marlins or isn't in the league. So again, we have to have 4 keepers, 2 guys on waivers, and 2 guys on retirement. Next up, Jose Pena. Jose's had some good years in relief. He didn't pitch long in baseball. Was with the Dodgers. He's got a Dodger hat here. And he pitches for the Reds and the Dodgers in 70-71. You see 72, just 7 innings. That card's not going to be made. He is on retirement. And with that retirement, it means that the Marlins are going to have to make some deals because they're going to retire 3 cards and you're only allowed to retire 2. So they're going to have to move some talent around. And that will, of course, we have all off season to do that. That's kind of the fun part of this off season, figuring out who is going to be moving around. Tom Bergmeyer, this should be a no-brainer. He has a nice long career. He pitches everywhere. Does a nice job with the Red Sox, as I recall. Kansas City as well, Minnesota, Boston, then later Oakland. And yeah, he should have good years all throughout this. 72. Not so much. 73, not so much. 74 and 75, when he goes to Minnesota, he figures it out again after struggling a little bit. 75 at age 31, he's got a 3.09 ERA and a 1.30 whip. That'd be a 4-year deal. 74 would be a 3-year deal. This 4-year deal, though, is a pretty decent ERA of 3.09. Then you can re-up him in 76 as his ERA goes down to 2.50. But he's a keeper. They're going to keep Bergmeyer. Bergmeyer was one of the original Florida expansion players, way back when this league was first conceived. And that is all 8. And you see here, it's pretty simple. They have 4-0-1-0-3, and the proper math is to have 4 keepers, 2 waivers, and 2 retirements. The most critical number is this first column. You want to know who you're keeping. It looks like they're just going to keep these 4 guys and just roll this thing back with rookies plus the 4. And so all you have to do in the off season is trade one of the retired players for a waivered player. The waived player still won't be a Marlin. He'll be on waivers. But there's going to be teams that have 4 keepers, 3 waivers, and 1 retire. And that team will do business with Marlins to get the simple accounting straightened out. So at 4-0-1-0-3, I can also look at the overall picture here and show you what the math is supposed to be. So when you put the $10,000 units here and the $100 units here and the $1 unit here, you'll get a 5-digit number here. In this case, all we have is Florida at 40103. The grand total, if everything is set up properly, will be this number here, which you can read it as 1,286,464. But even better, if you draw a line after 128 and after 64, this is a way that you can actually count. You've got 128 guys you want to keep, you have 64 guys you want to put on waivers, and 64 guys you want to put on retirement. And so that is the math that we will develop as this elimination of each team plays out. And so we're just at the beginning with the Marlins. Didn't expect much, didn't get much. At least their math isn't too clumsy to figure out moving forward. It seems pretty simple for them in the off season. That's it for eliminating the Florida Marlins. Hope you're enjoying this process, seeing how teams are built. Thanks for checking it out. We'll see you next time.